All right. So this was not the desired angle. I was hoping to use my main webcam, but I guess that's not going to work today. So hi everyone. I need to open up. I have various stuff going on here. Let me open up the chat somewhere else. Where is it here? Pop out chat. There we go. Put this over here. Okay. 200K. That was one thing I wanted to open up. Just looking at the chat here. So yes, welcome everyone to the 200K live stream. This is a bit chaotic, so I'm going to try to organize this. Okay, yeah, welcome. I'm just looking at the chat quickly here to see what's happening. Thank you for the congratulations. Yes, the restrain is delayed. I was working on a video right before I came on here. You can also apologize for the quality of the camera. It is it's not my usual webcam, but that's the price we pay here to try to get the stream going more quickly. Okay, so many messages. Just going through the chat quickly here. Thank you, the Circle Gamer, who says, I love your work. I really appreciate that. Oh my goodness, okay. Okay, I think I've gone through the whole chat. Thank you everyone for the congratulations. I'm really excited the channel reached 200,000 subscribers. I usually do a video at every subscriber milestone, but I'm gonna be honest, I was just looking at the last several I've done. I'm drinking my orange drink. I was looking at the last several updates I've done when I reached a new subscriber milestone, and I kind of end up saying mostly the same things every time. Thank you for watching. It's cool to do YouTube videos. My favorite videos remain my favorite videos. It's the usual stuff. So if if you've seen one, you've kind of seen them all. So I thought, let's just do a stream. That will be more fun, and I can just talk to everyone. Thank you, Will, for the super chat, which has congratulations. I appreciate it. I will respond to some questions. Maybe less transit related. I feel like this is about the channel. Like let's talk about RMTransit and the channel and all of that, because yeah, I talk about transit constantly. Like let's talk about some meta stuff, since these are very meta update videos about the growth of the channel and about the changing world of public transport. Some updates. The channel has over 500 videos now, though I have made over 750. A total of 250 have been taken down over the age of the channel, which is more videos than some YouTube channels have. So it's a lot of videos. Last year at this time, I was under 100K, so more than doubled in a year, which is awesome. We're now at over 30 million views on the channel, and it's been going for 7 years, which is a really long time to be doing one thing. Thank you for the super chat, Gray. Next up, 1 million. I've never really imagined that 1 million is possible for a channel about public transport, but maybe it'll happen. There's no current public transport channel, like purely public transport focused channel that has 1 million subs, but who knows what might happen. San Pellegrino is great. Okay, so I should say the stuff that I have like pre-written that was going to be in a video, but then I decided I'm just going to do a live stream instead of a video. And then I guess can do Q&A, chat about plans with the channel, where I want to travel. Have you ever lived outside of Canada? No, but I have, well, not until, okay, anyways, I don't have a lot of experience living outside of Canada, but I have spent a lot of time outside of Canada. I liked your video suggesting new transit for Las Vegas. You hinted at potentially making it a series. Is that still a plan? Yeah, I think it would be really fun to just sort of play transport consultant and say, like, if I had the ability to draw the plan for the city. This is what I would do, or at least this is part of what I would do. You know, you need a full transport plan requires a lot more than I would say one person can do for a big city, but you know, a high level plan you can definitely do. How long does it take you to write scripts? It depends on the script. I'm writing a high-speed rail script right now. If you're in Italy, send me a message, though some Italian viewers I'm already in touch with. But a high-speed rail script or a Transit Explained can take, you know, tens of hours. Some talking heads can be as short as like 1 hour if I'm really, like, I know what I want to write, I'm focused, I get inspired by something. So that's my thinking on that. Hello from Bangkok. Oh, very cool to see someone from Bangkok is here. What is your favorite San Pellegrino flavor? So my hot take is that I really like limonata. Like, it's my favorite San Pellegrino fruit drink. But the problem with limonata is it's just so acidic. It just upsets my stomach. So that is why I've become an aranciata drinker once again. When I was a kid, this was my preferred flavor, but it transitioned to limonata, and now it's back to aranciata. I saw your Twitter beef with Gil Peñalosa. How would you advise him otherwise? I wouldn't call it a Twitter beef. I just think, you know, I disagree with some of the things that Gil says. Yeah, wouldn't call it a beef. I would not talk... I don't think it's reasonable to talk about kind of canceling existing projects that are being built, but I think that, you know, yeah, sure, we should have a more fulsome planning process for future projects. But yeah, I don't know what to say more than that. Build more housing. I agree. When you get 200,000 subs when talking about a city with 200,000 people, congrats, Reese. I guess Salt Lake City does have 200,000 people, which is sort of hilarious. Do you know Alan Fish personally? The Alan Fish. Glub, glub, glub. No, I don't, like, you know, I haven't grown up knowing Alan or something, but I have met Alan. I talk to him on a fairly regular basis. Goodness, there's a lot of comments. What video surprised you in terms of engagement? Thanks for the super chat, Jordan. Let me think about that for a second. Also, thank you for the super chat, Toro Porco, who says RMTransit rocks. A video that surprised me in terms of engagement was maybe the recent Seattle one. I thought it was really well received, and I thought it was really good. I was happy to see it well received, and it seems like Seattle is kind of putting the brakes on that, so that excites me as well. Why did I delete so many? My standards for my videos have changed over the years, and I think, you know, like, the default, the natural thing to say about taking an old YouTube video down is like, oh yeah, it's fine. Like, people understand that it's an old video, but it's the internet, right? Like, new people are seeing you for the first time every day, and so it's okay to say, hey, like, I've grown, or hey, I do videos in a different way now. I would rather not have that still up. I think it's hard to say that, you know, just don't take them down unless you've experienced what it's like to have, like, a channel or, like, a following at scale on social media where people are constantly talking about not just the stuff you're saying today, but might talk about the stuff you said 5 years ago, right? And these things change a lot over time. You know, when I was originally making videos, I was often talking about projects that now are almost complete. I do remember that I used to share my videos on Skyscraper page. It was a long time ago. Now, I feel like I don't need to, but I feel like, you know, I've been involved in the forums for so many years, so they've always been a really, like, one of the best resources for, not necessarily, like, learning because a lot of crazy opinions are shared, but just kind of finding out what projects are going on and things like that. It's really cool for that. Is a full explainer for Helsinki ever happening? I would say it's like a case where if I visit Helsinki again, I would do a full explainer, and that's true of like any city. I might do full explainers for smaller cities if I visit them, but I'm still kind of working from bigger to smaller cities. 1 million subscribers shouldn't be possible on a transit channel, but you'll prove that it is. What a nice thing to say. Thank you for saying that my channel is underrated, Mr. Tripod. Oh, I'm getting shot to the bottom of the chat. Okay. Is there a Google form for video recommendations? No, there's too many recommendations to really like coordinate it in that way, but I'm always open to hearing recommendations. Can you sing transit-related songs? I'm not sure what song we're thinking about here. A full explainer of Dallas would be interesting. Yeah, potentially, I guess. Sorry, I'm kind of getting a bit lost in the chat here. Can you explain what you don't like about BRT? Well, I don't have a universal like or dislike for any transit mode. Transit modes, right, they're really dependent on where you build them, the context around them, and they all make sense somewhere. Some may make sense in less places than others. Will this be the third version of an Italy high-speed rail video? Nope, it's number 2. But yeah, I don't think the only video I've ever done more than 2 iterations of would be Toronto videos, which I feel like I'm entitled to. My opinions change, projects change, and I was for a long time really deep in the trenches of Toronto, so my opinions are constantly getting questioned. Lemonada forever. What is an application of machine learning to the world of transit? There's so many. I mean, come on. What do you think about other city infrastructure, into architecture, for example? And if so, what styles do you like? My architecture beliefs are maybe a bit uninteresting. I like modern architecture. I like some, I like modernist architecture. I obviously, I think I would say that I really enjoy old stuff, right? All kinds of old architecture. I think brutalism is really cool in the right places. I think Paige Saunders has a fantastic video talking about brutalism in the Montreal Metro, not specifically, but the Metro comes up a lot, and I think that's sort of like a transit mode architecture, right? It can make it's dependent on context, and in the right places, it might make more sense than in other places. Thanks for the super chat, Will. Have you ever considered a transit Twitter or YouTube convention with other content creators and their fans? No, not running one myself, but Paige Saunders did run something like this in previous years and maybe doing it again, so stay tuned. Let me just make sure I get... so many messages. Are you ever going to do another Walk with Johnny Strides? I would like to. Is there anyone besides Train Daddy who you would put at the head of VRL? Difficult questions. Okay, I'm so lost in these messages. Yes, I am going on the urbanist agenda, and yes, that is PS5, right down there. Transport Fever is sick. Yeah, so the Eglinton Crosstown Line 5 in Toronto is going to have the same faregate design as is used on the Ottawa O train. The difference isn't that substantial. I think the motors are stronger to make it, the gates a little tougher, but also they're longer. So the faregate, the faregate is longer. And so as you're walking in, when you tap your card, as you're walking, there's more time for the gates to open without you hitting them. So they sort of allow for more traffic flowing through them. The original fare gates used on the TTC subway, back in the day when you went onto their website, I believe it's Shaden Bachman's website, they're actually for low volume stations, not for subway stations. And so these new gates should be a little, designed for higher capacity applications. Do you have a job or just YouTube? YouTube is my job. Thank you. Other YouTube channels that have inspired your style or direction. I really like Linus Tech Tips. I grew up living, in the same general area in suburban Vancouver, and I've watched a lot of their videos. I'm a huge fan of technology, and I've enjoyed their videos for a long time, so they're certainly an inspiration. And then all the classic YouTube people that you would think of. If you ever spend time in the UK, I hope to see you do a crossover with Jeff Marshall. I'm sure. Well, me and Jeff did do a crossover in his Tottenham Court Road Crossrail video. If you haven't seen it, you should watch it. I think it's a good one. I think Tottenham Court Road is a really nice station. I chat with Jeff pretty regularly now, text back and forth, and I'm sure we will do another video at some point when we end up in the same place at the same time in the future. I think that VIA should introduce more sleeper routes. I think sleeper trains are awesome, and I've been wanting to make a video for a really long time, so sleeper train video, that's definitely happening. Did you use a voice changer? No. Why did you choose the name RMTransit? Yeah, really massive. That Elfie nailed it there. No, it's my initials. Do you have plans going forward with the visual identity of the channel? I think, yeah, sure. I'm always open to new things. If someone ever wants to pitch me on this fancy visual design change for the channel, I'm always open to it. Yeah, it is. I would like to just change it more often. You know, like once the channel's a lot bigger than it was when I had the current stuff designed. I'm not a graphic designer, and so I do need to change the design at some point. Yes, I am real. Am I still in Toronto? Unfortunately not. I made a Substack article about this. If you aren't subscribed to my Substack, please subscribe. This is my personal push today is going to be go subscribe to the Substack. A lot of the articles are free, some are for subscribers only, but you can still kind of stay in touch with me, and I did an article about leaving Toronto, so you can look at that article and you know, you can yeah, check out the article. I talk about leaving Toronto. Oh my goodness, a lot of questions. Are you going to do a video on Nashville Transit? I actually have one planned. It's going to be really comprehensive, actually. So stay tuned, Nashville Transit lovers. I actually was just recording a video on Chinese metros. Doing this videos on systems is harder just because there's not a lot of people I'm in touch with who are in China who could potentially send me clips of their metro systems, but maybe slowly things will happen. Yes, I did move out of Toronto. As someone is saying, go check out the Substack. In the pinned comment, I talk about it more. Subscribe to the Substack. I write articles weekly that I think you'll find interesting. Oh, the wheels on wheels on the bus. Okay, yes. I love your upload schedule. It keeps me on my toes. It's consistent. Tuesdays and Saturdays, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. What types of sources are used when writing scripts for your videos? I was trying to find out if you do it all by yourself. I do write my videos entirely by myself, yes. Would San Diego be on the table? I'm not sure what you're referring to. I am planning on doing a Manchester video, hopefully sooner than later. Liverpool also, but probably further in the future because it's a smaller city. Monorails definitely could make sense in some places, but in few places. Well, there's your problem. Guessed when. I'm open. I just realized I posted my... Okay. What's your favorite Japanese private railway? I think I'm an Odaku person myself. The romance car is so cool. The elevated guideway out of Tokyo is so cool. I think it would be hard to not have that. I guess Keitetsu is also cool. Would you suggest the subway line under Bathurst Street? Maybe someday, but not today. Thoughts on Glasgow subway? When are they getting the platform screen doors and automation done? The Clone Stadtbahn. I do need to do a video about it. But that's one of the places I'm going to definitely visit at some point in the future, so I should just wait until I visit to make it. Is 200,000 subs short for 200,000 subways? Let's make it happen. Thanks for the super chat, Bruce. I wish it was what it stood for. Do you see yourself ever working for a transit agency? I've done a little bit of transport consulting in the past, so I kind of have done that, but why would one want to commit to a single transit agency when the world is a smorgasbord of different transit options and you could taste a little bit of everything? Just looking. What's with your Twitter spat with Gil Peñalosa? Last time I'm answering this today because nothing against Gil. I just don't like I don't like when someone who is a politician or who may be a politician in the future talks about canceling an under construction project. Unless the project is going to, destroy 1,000 homes or something, then it should be completely off the table, especially in a place like Toronto, to cancel an under construction project when we've failed to get anything built for so long. Let's look at this. Do you think light rail was the right choice for the IBX in New York? I have multiple Substack articles on this topic, so I recommend going and checking those out. What do you do professionally? YouTube. Yes, I agree that any candidate for mayor should be required to regularly ride the TTC. Hey, Christine, thank you for subscribing to the Substack. I appreciate it a lot, and yeah, thanks for the congrats. I appreciate it. What do you think the limit for length of a commuter rail line is? Probably 200-ish kilometers. I think some of the RR lines are getting close to 200 kilometers. Do you play rail sims? No, I just don't feel like I have much time to. I spend all of my free time making videos, as is the YouTube life. Ooh, what are your thoughts on the M4 line, which recently opened in Milan? M4 is very interesting. Check out my Milan Metro explainer, because I'm pretty sure I give some more thoughts on Milan and Hitachi driverless Metro. Do you edit your videos yourself? Yes, some of them, many of them. I love your channel. Great video on the Mexico City Metro. Greetings from Mexico. Thank you so much. What do you think about the LTT channels getting hacked? Pretty scary. Yeah. Have you contacted Downing Live for a trip together? Me and Mike are going to go on a trip together at some point. Another YouTuber I talk to regularly. We just haven't put two and two together yet, but we will at some point. He's great. Should we bring back more cut and cover for subways? Yes, absolutely. Cut and cover is great. Thank you. Is it Raj or Raj? Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Your recent Seattle video was very helpful. I shared with multiple people in the city. Thanks for creating it. Thank you. Oh, CDLTO is getting me flustered with these comments. What did you study in school? Computer science, and various other topics for less courses than computer science. Where is he now? I'm right here. What do you think of the R211s? I think they look very nice. I love the Japanese fare gates for remaining open unless you do not tap your card. It makes things so much more seamless, and it means that if a fast flow of people are coming through and they're tapping, it's much faster because the gates don't have to open and close and open and close. I know they don't always do that, but it's good. They should expand the REM to many places in Montreal. Are you going to the opening of the REM? I would hope so. Yes, probably, maybe. You should do a video where you go over all of the major problems with North America. They're very different from the US and Canada, actually, I would say. What university did you go to? I'm looking for good transit planning programs, etc. I did computer science at the University of Toronto, and I almost did a master's in urban studies at Simon Fraser University in Vancouver. I think the Canadian universities are pretty good, but I think that more than the university, you should think about what city you would like to live in. I think that's a really good thought process to go through when planning university. Regarding light rail and the IBX, check out my Substack. I have an article written about it. It's in the pinned comment. Exolar Dusk, Train Daddy interview when? If anyone watching has Andy's contact info or wants to set something up. I would love to talk to Andy Byford. I did meet him in London when Crossrail was opening, but it was not a long conversation, obviously, and so I would love to do a longer thing. Just thank you for all of the videos from Adelaide. Let's hope our O-Bahn gets the light rail treatment sometime. Thank you for the super chat, Michael. I concur. The O-Bahn should probably not exist. As much as it's cool, its guided busways are questionable. Okay, back to the top so I can keep scrolling down. I actually do have a video on the Grand Paris Express. I talked about it quite a bit in my Paris Metro Explained video. And if I go to Paris in the next while, which could happen, I will do more about the Grand Paris Express. I could maybe do a video on the Maryland Purple Line. I'll think about that more. If I could get on site with it, maybe I would do a longer video. But otherwise, it's hard to justify a longer video on it, I feel like. Do you think California High Speed Rail should buy Velaros? I think they should buy whatever train can cost effectively be provided that meets the necessary specifications for the operations of the line. Will the Rem or Eglinton line be open first? Rem, I think. Is there a chance we'll get full electrification on the Kitchener-Go line in the Greater Toronto area, in your opinion? Yeah, I would hope so. I really hope a lot of railway lines get electrified. We really need that to happen for the future. What do you think of Dublin's ongoing Metrolink project? I need to do a video on it. That's what I think. Do you have any plans or videos or opinions on Euston's Metro? I understand it's pretty generic, but obligatory question as a resident and frequent user. Euston and other cities in the Sunbelt should not just build light rail, and they should also try to compete with cars more with their transit. Regional rail is one way to also do that. Have you seen the proposed Elizabeth Line loop extension? I have not. I have an April 1st idea already, so that's what I'm going to work on. What advice would you give to aspiring or new YouTubers? Just make sure you actually enjoy making videos. Don't just make videos because you want to be a successful YouTuber, because it's just very hard to do YouTube if you don't enjoy the content that you're making videos about, because there's a lot of bad stuff about YouTube. CDLTO says, how can you say you like the Odakyu Viaduct when elevated rail destroys neighborhoods? Unfortunately, a lot of the North American planning establishment is unfamiliar with how transit works in a lot of global cities and in a lot of other countries, and I think it's a big reason why North American transit isn't good, because even when we do build projects, we don't do it the way that a place like Japan or France or Germany would build it. We build it how North America would build it, which means a lot of compromises and a lot of bad decisions. So, yes, frustrating. Who do you support for Toronto Mayor? What are your favorite movies that heavily feature subways? I was watching John Wick, Chapter 4, yesterday, and it had a subway in it. It does not heavily feature subways, though, so I would need to think about that a bit more. How much faith do you have in the MTA for getting projects like the 2nd Avenue Subway and IBX done quickly, efficiently, and overall well? Well, given the reception that the Transit Cost Project has had from the MTA, which is mostly to say that the 2nd Avenue Subway should take a long time and cost a lot of money, I'm not optimistic. I know full subway screen doors are expensive, but what do you think about half-size ones like on the Yamanote line in Tokyo? I actually don't necessarily believe that full height is more expensive. There are various heights, right? You can have one that's like its head height, but it doesn't touch the ceiling. I don't think it would be that much more expensive than like lower gates. The type of platform screen doors that have been retrofitted in Paris are the like head height ones, and I far prefer those because obviously it's easier to end up going over like a kind of mid-height gate than one that's up at your head. How useful do you think the proposed 407 transitway would be? The 407 never has traffic by design, so not very useful. Besides maybe connections into stations, but those don't have to be built as part of a full transitway. Why do you oppose the Highway 413? What is Substack? Substack is a website that's kind of like, it's a blog slash newsletter. So if you go to my Substack, linked in the pinned comment above, be great. Free, you can subscribe for free. A lot of the articles are free. It's basically a newsletter. So once a week, usually on Fridays, I release a new article. Usually every other one is free, and then every other one is for subscribers. But it's a little more free than for subscribers. Like it's sometimes 2 for free and then 1 for subscribers. And then yeah, you can just read. It's more hot takes and stuff like that. It's more timely because it's easier to make an article about something people are discussing right then and there than putting together a full video. Though I did do the Andy Byford video this week, and so that's kind of what Substack is. I should go check out Grand Central Madison and the new subway cars. I have a lot of friends in New York, and I would love to go back. So yes, at some point, I need to do that. Yes, I have been to university before doing YouTube. Check earlier in the stream, I talked about that in more detail. Have you thought about shooting in person, presenting to camera? Given you visit so many different cities, you present the perfect opportunity to shoot on site in different cities in addition to voiceovers. I have definitely thought about that. I agree it would probably be a bit more aesthetically pleasing, but there's so many issues with shooting on site logistically that, you know, the trade-offs, right? When you're shooting on site, shooting is going to take a lot longer because just on site, so many more variables that you are going to struggle to control, like noise, wind, other people around you potentially, walking in front of the camera, walking in front of you, finding good lighting. All of these things make shooting in person really difficult, and I like to talk about places all around the world, so it's really hard for me to shoot in person in a way that's sort of relevant to the videos I want to talk about, or the places I want to talk about. Will Guangzhou Line 18 and 21 be as good as Crossrail or the RER? No, because they're not Crossrail or the RER, right? They're fundamentally different. They're metro, and there are benefits and also downsides to that. What are the top 5 cities you want to get to for transit videos? Tokyo, Paris, Berlin, Stockholm. I like Stockholm a lot. And I'll leave the wild card as the last one. I mean, Seoul is really good too. There's a lot of cities I need to get to. Seoul, I need to do an explainer video on. You're doing a fine job championing modern transit. I would like more videos that address the negatives of car-centric society. The reality is that I've done videos on cars in the past. They just don't perform well, so it's just not a focus for me. It's the unfortunate part about how YouTube works. Isaac, thanks for the super chat. What's your opinion on Brightline West? I'm going to do a dedicated video on Brightline West, so I would say stay tuned for that. It'll be interesting if it gets completed, you know, crossing our fingers, but it goes from not the strip to Rancho Cucamonga, or Cucamongo. It's just not, it's okay, it's better than nothing, right? But it's unfortunate that in the US, better than nothing is exciting, right? So I think get it to downtown LA, get it actually to the strip, or yeah, the fact that it doesn't, I mean, I know it's close, but you're not walking, right? So you're still going to have to get in a taxi for the last mile, which is all that Elon Musk's tunnel Tesla system is anyways. So yeah, it's frustrating. Would love to see a video on the problems and potential of the Bay Area transit. By some metrics, it has the second largest ridership in the nation after New York. I'm kind of skeptical. Like, I feel like DC and maybe Chicago would be competing for that. I think ridership is down a lot more after COVID because of high housing prices, etc. I could potentially do one. I mean, the Bay Area does have a lot of issues, and the balkanization is obviously a huge issue. Yes, my Substack doesn't say where I moved. I'm keeping where I moved, just private. I don't want to talk about where I live. You know, the channel is big enough now that leads to problems, I'll just say. Any thoughts on Hitachi's new US factory? Anyone from Hitachi watching want me to go check out the new factory? if Hitachi wants to have me visit the factory and talk about where new Washington Metro and probably Ontario Line trains are going to be, that could be a lot of fun. Yes, Utah Transit Authority, the UTA, is planning on expanding the Frontrunner train, and that is really exciting. Are you going to talk about the Gothenburg transit system now that Stockholm is finished? Our tram network and Central Station are the oldest in Sweden. When I'm there, and I hope I can be there in the future. Why did you move away from computer science? Because I like transport. So why not talk about something I'm super into? I like computer science and tech too, but transport I saw more of an opening for doing the things I was interested in. I'd be open to doing tech stuff in the future again. If Google wants to hire someone to like make Google Maps Transit really good, you know, I might be open. Um, where did you get the TTC map from? The TTC store online. Ah, thanks, Will, for the super chat. How can TAs reduce the role of consultants on projects? Do you mean technical advisors? Um, if you do, I mean, I think that agencies ultimately need to bring people on board who can answer questions that otherwise, consultants would need to be hired to ask, essentially. I think there's a great transit program at Ryerson you should check out. I'm assuming that's for someone in the chat. Interested in railway modeling? It depends. Oh, like model railroads? Check out my Instagram. I may have posted something about that recently. Have you ridden the new Via trains in regular service yet? No, I have not. I would like to, but it's the way it's being rolled out is kind of weird. Come on, Via, call me up and tell me show up here. New train will be there. Review the train. What are your thoughts on CRRC and the new MBTA Orange and Red Line trains? They seem really bad, but CRRC builds good trains for China. That's what I'll say, is that they make good trains somewhere, but these trains don't appear to be super good. Yeah, Brad Ross probably could make that connection. Yeah, lots of North American cities shackle their transit funding to voter initiatives. I don't think that's a good thing. And it's not really North American cities, it's an American city thing. Vancouver tried it, it didn't work. Different approach was taken. Um, what's the smallest city size that can support a metro in North America? That's a great question. I feel like I don't have a great answer for right at the moment. Was it a mistake for the crosstown to be light rail? Yeah, should have been metro. Collab with Wendover. Maybe at some point in the future. We're both in Nebula, so I guess it's possible. Yes, elevated rail ruins neighborhoods is a quote from Toronto's former chief planner. It hurts to say that. Yes, The Taking of Pelham 123. A classic. Montreal Metroval and the tram. Not sure what that's referring to. What's your opinion on the TTC downtown relief line? We're building the Ontario line now, so my opinion doesn't matter a ton, I feel like, anymore. Why do you think the TTC has a cash box? The best transit systems in the world got rid of cash a long time ago. Because the TTC is not living in the present. They're a system that is still doing stuff the old-fashioned way and should modernize in more ways than one. Do you still have a second channel? No, I gave up on that effort. Do you do sports? I do various sports, yes. Do you think that rail services like Sunrail and Tri-Rail should replace their fleets with trains that can run on light rail? No, but something like a Flirt or a Coradia would make a lot of sense. Do you think Milan will actually be able to extend M1 and M5 to nearby Monza within the decade? I mean, I really couldn't comment on that. I feel like that's a local political / funding thing. I think the technical capability seems like it definitely exists. So if the money is there, I don't see why Milan couldn't. Where are you thinking of moving next? Sweden looks nice. thoughts on ongoing projects in Chicago? There needs to be more projects in Chicago. It shouldn't just be extending the red line and modernizing the red and purple line. It should be building a loop and building more lines and integrating existing lines in a more comprehensive way. And upgrading the electrified mainline rail. It's crazy that the trains and the infrastructure is just, it's wild. I actually have enough I don't have a full-time job besides YouTube, though YouTube is a full-time job. With regard to just making awesome transit videos traveling the world, I've a bit more subscribers, but then that's definitely something that I'm interested in, I would say. How can transit people counter the public transit is unsafe and crime-ridden message? I think it's something that hurts us a lot, unfortunately. Thanks for the super chat, Evan. I certainly think transit needs to be safe and secure, and crime is a real issue that will drive away riders and hurt ridership. I think operating a better service and ultimately, enforcing that people cannot, behave in an antisocial way on transit is actually important for this. And I would say, the most important thing at a high level is that driving cars is also extremely dangerous. Not the best justification, but it is dangerous. So riding transit is safer in many ways. Yes. I know that Brightline West is planned to go to LA Union Station, but I don't think it's really planned. Like, there's not, unless you have a clear path to doing something, I wouldn't call it a, comprehensive plan. Just scroll in. So many messages. I didn't know St. Louis had a new north-south rail route. Is it going to have a downtown tunnel like the original one does? Yes. The taking of Pelham 123 is so good because it doesn't require viewers to pretend that ATP doesn't exist. Very true. Do you think Oslo can pull off the CBTC system next year? I'm skeptical, especially on the western side of the system. I'm not sure what the current status of the project is, but possibly. I would have to know about the status. Why are GO Transit trains so slow? They don't seem to go above 55 miles per hour. They definitely do. What would it be? I'm trying to think. No, so GO trains can go up to 90 miles per hour, and they do in certain places. Certain segments of the network are slower than others, but the plans are to raise speeds network-wide. And on the Lakeshore East and Lakeshore West line, as well as on the Kitchener line, these are the main corridors of the system. You get to 140 kph pretty commonly. So, yeah, I don't know where you've been riding that you've been getting those low speeds consistently. There are sometimes slowdowns and stuff, etc. Will says, thank you for the super chat, how can we get back to building subways and cut and cover on elevated portions? Anglo-North America refuses to build cheap subways. Well, Vancouver doesn't. So I say go to Vancouver, learn how Vancouver has done it, learn how Vancouver's justified it to people, and do what Vancouver's doing. Because Vancouver is building tunnels, metro, but cheaper than other places, and it's building elevated, a lot of elevated, and it continues to build elevated into single-family home suburbs, which are densifying when the subway gets there. But I would say Vancouver's a great place to learn from. Would you suggest a monorail for Hawaii due to aesthetics? Well, unfortunately, unfortunately, that's not a decision we can make today. Not that I think that HART was a bad idea, but HART is already being built as conventional rail, so it's not a choice we have anymore. Unless you're talking about building rapid transit on other Hawaiian islands, but I'm not sure if that's your plan. Have you heard about the new platform screen doors in Osaka that can move around with multiple layers so that they can adjust to different train door spacing arrangements? Yes, I have. It's beautiful. Oh, please, I want to go to Osaka and make a video about it. It's expensive, but I want to. Are electric locomotives on Metra the vibe? I don't think anything on Metra is the vibe. Do you plan to make a video about the O train breaking down? I've made so many videos about the O train and its problems. I feel like just watch the old ones. Does it make sense to extend Line 4 Shepherd east and west? Especially if we can do it cost effectively. But yeah, Line 4 does really well despite not connecting a lot of locations. If it was more well connected, it would do very well. Where do you think they should expand the Eurostar? It would be cool if Deutsche Bahn could operate the service that they were talking about operating for a long time from Germany into the UK. Really weird that Mark is saying that he rode the Lakeshore West line from Burlington to Union and it maxed out at 55. That's not normal at all. Usually, because what is 55? Sorry, I need to convert here. Yeah, that's super, super slow. It should not be going at that speed. It's generally should be going like, I guess, 60s, 70s, 80s in miles per hour. How can a city with sprawling employment get high ridership transit? Good suburban buses and a kind of interconnected high-speed rail network, I guess I would say. Craig, thanks for the super chat. LA must centralize and TOD all of its rail lines. Yeah, I find the arguments that LA can't have good transit because downtown isn't dense is kind of silly. Well, that's the point. You need to make downtown LA dense, make the actual transit corridors denser, build a comprehensive network that shapes the way you want the city to look so that it will start to look that way based on development. The GO train maxing out on 55 was presumably a local. That seems conceivable, but even for a local train, I feel like going through like Humber Bay shores, you tend to go quite fast. So, I don't know. Would you consider the 512 in Toronto one of the better streetcars? Yes, I would. Dedicated lanes, be great. Once neighborhoods get rapid transit, complaints about elevated sections are soon forgotten. I would concur. I think it's definitely true. I can't believe Hart is going to open with the least useful parts first. Such a terrible idea. Just asking for media coverage, calling it a failure. I agree. Planners need to consider things like that. Just because something is easy doesn't mean it's necessarily the best approach, because now you're going to have a really hard time building the most useful parts of the line because people will call it a white elephant and they'll say that it's built in the wrong place, which it is, to be fair. Could you make a video about different types of signaling systems? I kind of do have one with Tyson Moore, but you should... Yes, I should do that. Do you think it's possible for San Antonio to build a full-scale metro system? It's the biggest city in the U.S. proper with no rail transit at all. I think not a New York-style metro system, but something with smaller trains, a lot of elevated operation to make the costs lower because San Antonio is not extremely high density, it might actually make sense. And I think the high speeds of metro make it more competitive with driving as opposed to light rail, which, kind of presumes that you're going to end up building this kind of like European city within an American city, which I just don't think over the last 30 years we've really seen be successful in generating a lot of ridership, and it has developed ridership and urban change, but it hasn't fast enough and at a large enough scale, and I think looking to a place like Vancouver as a model would be better. Thanks for the super chat. Will, what US transit system do you consider the best? The New York City subway. I think this is a pretty simple answer. Yeah. Do you think that TTC should switch to distance-based fares? No, but I think adopting a zonal fare system for the entire GTHA with some distance-based measures would make sense. In your opinion, what's the best subway and metro system in the world? Tokyo, probably. Paris is good too. Like if we're talking about comprehensively the transit network. How can we help you with footage of other cities' transit systems? You can tweet at me, I would say, is probably the easiest way. Per mile ridership is a superior metric to per station ridership. BART and DC Metro have similar per station ridership, but DC has 2 times the per mile ridership. I don't actually agree. I think that these are just different metrics, right? And they're valuable in different ways. Per mile ridership, means that as you're adding miles of track, so you're potentially extending very long distances, you're picking up ridership. But per station means that you're kind of placing stations in the right places. And so I don't think that there is one that's clearly better than the other. I think that they're just saying different things. What is the drink? Well, I already shared earlier, but I'll share it again. It is Aranciata. Do you know why the heck they chose to build eBART instead of extending the normal BART line? Cost, I believe, was the justification. It's less expensive. Yes, and riders have to do a cross-platform transfer, but also might potentially have to wait in the middle of an interstate, and that is not cool. So, yeah, bad. Bad. Do you think the TTC should purchase more rocket trains and replace all of the T1s on Line 2? Unfortunately, Line 2 rockets don't work super well because the maintenance yard is not designed for trains that are fully interconnected. So that's why the Toronto Rocket 2 design came out. I did a video on it months and months ago, so go check that out. I talk about more details about the different train designs and why they work in one place and another. Thank you for the super chat, Andrew. A thank you note for your Substack on light regional rail between Guelph, Kitchener-Waterloo, and Hamilton. Much appreciate. Thank you. I think we should build it. Have you considered doing videos on New Zealand transit? I will definitely do more in the future. I need to go to New Zealand and also Australia to make in-person videos. What are your honest thoughts on Presto? It's decent now. Like, we're pretty close to having all of the features we should have had 10 years ago. But now it's pretty good, so... yeah. So, I'll say a few more minutes left in the stream for the day. I'll reflect a bit more. What are those? What's in those boxes behind you? Which boxes? The boxes here? Those are Pelican cases. Let me click here. I do want to say to everyone, if you're actually here still watching the stream, thank you so much for supporting the channel, helping me improve my videos over the years. I think they've improved a lot and gotten a lot better. It's really cool to be able to speak to a large audience of people about public transport. I never expected that to happen when I started making videos regularly. That's, it's really kind of blown me away. I want to make videos on all kinds of topics I haven't been able to cover yet, which is, that's the plan for the future. I want to continue to write more, so definitely check out the Substack, linked at the top of the chat, pinned. It's, I think it's, let me pull this up. I think it's a good way to kind of engage, and you can comment on them and chat with me about various topics. I'm trying to search something up because someone is asking. I made a video about them somewhere. Yeah, Google around a bit. Maybe, actually, no, I think I wrote a Substack article in this case, which is why you should subscribe to the Substack, because that's the kind of thing, like, maybe if it's too nerdy to go into detail in a video, I will go into detail in a Substack article. Yes, I do keep pelicans, but not the birds. You articulated your Vancouver model preferences nicely a minute ago. I feel like I'm understanding it better. Is it like any rail can be good, but Vancouver is a great model worth emulating? Sure, yeah. Like, I just think that in the North American built environment, which is a lot of sprawl, the reality of trying to make that work with transit means you need something that can go from dense place to dense place quickly, and And I think SkyTrain, it offers that. Light rail could offer that too, right? Like you look at Seattle's system, the Link Light Rail, right? It also kind of is trying to emulate what SkyTrain does. But the thing about SkyTrain, the reason that it's better than Link is because it is grade separated. There are no crossings with streets. You don't walk on the tracks at any point. That means it can be fully automated. And when you can be fully automated, you can operate high frequencies all day. You can choose to run smaller trains more frequently because you don't have to pay a driver for every single train. So the economic solution leads you to wanting to run a better, more frequent service, which attracts more riders. There are so many light rail systems in the US that operate really big trains, but every 15 or 20 minutes. And in Vancouver, we literally will run a really short train, like as long as one light rail car in other cities, but every 3 minutes. And that leads to more ridership because it's more convenient. And I think the devaluing of service frequency, which is crazy because, Jarrett Walker, frequency is freedom. Everyone knows frequency matters, but then building light rail inherently makes operating a frequent system harder because you need to have a driver in every train, which means it's more expensive to have more trains operating. Not true on SkyTrain, or at least not true to the same extent. And you also get lower speeds, and lower speeds mean less attractive, less competitive with driving. If you want transit to be successful in North America, your competition isn't walking or cycling, it is driving, and that means your transit needs to be really fast. Yes, we are going to change our cities, and we need to change our cities to be denser, and then slower forms of transit can be more competitive. But when most people's trips involve driving, your transit needs to be able to compete with that, and that's why I think SkyTrain is such a good model, because it is fast, it is frequent, and it competes, and it has way more ridership than any American light rail system, even ones that are way longer and larger. What do you think about the Long Island Railroad fiasco? I don't have any strong opinions. Are you talking about the new schedule? If so, I'm not really sure. Someone is saying, preach. Thank you. Yes, I agree, CDLTO. The Vancouver model is great. Toronto shouldn't have looked to America when it was developing its light rail plans. It should have looked to Vancouver. It's really unfortunate it didn't. What do you think of the Cercanías Madrid? I need to do a dedicated video. Grizzly Soul says, thanks for all the great videos. Thank you for watching them. I really appreciate it. LA West Santa Ana branch should be an actual metro line at 1500 volts DC instead of an LRT. Also, LA should build an airport express off of the A and E line. Music to my ears. Just yes, these are things that would make transit more competitive with driving and might actually drive ridership compared to a lot of the existing LA Metro lines, which have so little ridership. LA Metro is a lot bigger than Vancouver SkyTrain, but it has a lot less ridership. And because of poor planning, that's the case, right? It's less competitive. Tortor Porco, thanks for the super chat, and thank you for saying keep up the great work. I definitely read a lot of Jarrett Walker stuff. Of course, I don't agree with Jarrett Walker on everything, but I think that anyone who helps push transit forward certainly should be commended, right? I'm sure the Ontario line will look different from renders because projects always do. Everything always looks different from the renders, but I don't think that should be something we're sad about. Reducing S-Bahn service in Germany is bad. Please, Germany, don't do that. If you're going to cosplay as Rolling Stock, what would you be and why? Such a great message. A SkyTrain, probably. Where are you moving to, Reese? Yeah, that discussed this topic earlier in the video. What are your opinions on park and rides? They make sense in very niche places. Are you doing a video on the Davenport Diamond once the grade separation is complete? Definitely, but it is not yet, unfortunately. Also, actually, I was going to say something, don't know what I'm saying. Yes, okay. It looks like we're going to wrap up now. It's been about an hour. Thank you, everyone, for coming to the stream. Thank you for supporting the channel over the years. 200,000 is huge. I am so excited about it. Thank you for coming along for the ride and talking about public transport with me. I really appreciate it. Thank you.